Hey everyone. So I've been making some of these laminated lace pockets. I say I've been making some. This is the only one I've actually made. I've laminated quite a bit of lace um, at different times. And so I decided to cut out, I just used my die cut and I cut out some shapes. And I wasn't really sure what I was going to do with them. And actually on these, I thought what I would do is make little pouches. Like I would sew them together and put something here and use it as a pouch. And actually, I think I'm still going to do that. I have two of them, and yeah, I think I'm still going to do that on these. I'm just going to make them little laminated pouches. But on this one, I decided, because it's been copy dyed and I think a little bit of rust. That's where the black came in at. And so I've decided, if you can see it very good, see it's kind of got a lot of color in there. I'm going to do it the same as this. I have some of this really cool kids book page. It's from a children's book, and it's really heavy. Like, not really, well, yeah, kind of in between a cardstock and like copy paper. So I loved it, and I have this smaller one I think I want to use for this piece. I don't know which way this goes. As you can tell, I want to make this my top, though it kind of has the jagged. So I'll have that cut out. I think I want to put something in here because this is a sticker. And well, all of these are stickers. And then I had some baby blanket. At my last live sale, I sold some of this. I don't know if it was coffee dye or tea dye baby blanket. And it was sewn across the top of a fabric flip. And kind of like this. You can see it. Anyway, I kind of like to use the things that I make because I don't want people to think, well, these are great, but what do you do with them? And then I also sold pieces of the baby cloth or baby blanket that I had tea dyed and coffee dyed. What I did was I took a piece of that, stamped it, and I did sew all the way across it. But then I tore some of the stitching out so it looks really, old. Well, I hope it looks old. So, but I did sew so that I would have the holes, like where you would know the stitches had come out. And I just made this really neat pocket, and I thought that I would have some beautiful tags here from Wendy, the paper rooster. And see, wouldn't that look cool down in there just like that? And then when you take it out, you have your pretty flower still behind it. And but the thing is, on this pocket, this children's book page is pretty large, and I don't think I realized it was quite so big. So the next one I'm going to make is just a little bit smaller. See, doesn't that look pretty? Just have a little picture hanging out in there. So I'm going to use those two. How pretty is that? Wendy, these are beautiful. Anyway, so I think I'm going to make a smaller one this time. But before I glue it, I didn't glue it down. Before I sewed it onto this, I'm going to sew around this little frame. I don't know why. I just think I want to. But I have some more of this lace. Not much, just a little piece of it left. But I think that would make a couple great pockets. So maybe we can do that today. And I wanted to show you on these. I'm not sure if I did it on both of them or just one. I think just one. I accidentally tore the lace. You can see where I tore it. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to play on that. So I made the tear just a little bit bigger. And I was hoping it would show up better than it does. So this time I think when I laminate this, I'm going to tear it just a little bit more. And on the laminate, before I do that, I might, here's another piece that I coffee dyed, so I may do some pockets out of it as well. But I was thinking I would tear this and make it bigger and maybe put a little sticker or something behind it on my laminates. Let's try it out. See what we can do here. So here's our laminate sheet. I've got my laminator heating up. I wonder if I should cut these. That's almost the perfect size for that right there. I was kind of wanting to do one of these too. See if I have enough room. I do. But that's going to be a bigger pocket, kind of like what I have now. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and tear my hole. This may not work. I don't know. I really want a good sized hole in this one. I'll probably do the same over here. I was making a joke today, in Pearl Spines, I get a lot of my lace from Pearl. And I thought, I bet she sees my videos and think, what are you doing with that beautiful lace? So I'm going to lay it down in here. And I'm going to really pull back those edges. Hopefully they'll stay and really look grungy when after I laminate it. But I was wondering if I could put some kind of little sticker in there, what it would look like. My friend Joe sent me some stickers for my birthday, and I think there's some small ones in here that maybe I can put like behind that. See what we can come up with. Because, you know, even though if you don't like stickers because they're shiny or whatever, it doesn't matter when you laminate it because the whole thing's shiny. So let's tear that like that, and we'll put a little number back there, and we're going to see how this works out. Let's do a little something there too. Let's make this one a little bit bigger. Really fold it over like that. And I think instead of, you know, die cutting and doing that this time, I think this is what's going to peek through. And I think I want this one to say memories. And I'm going to try to hold that over when I bring my laminate down, so that it has that pretty good in the hole there. And I really would like that to look, maybe I need to tear it a little bit more. There we go. Something like that. Isn't that a shame? Just tear stuff up. I'm going to move that where it's showing in there. And we're going to run this through the laminator and see how cool it looks. I hope it looks cool. It may just look silly. Why did you do that? Let's see. I'll be right back. I said I would be right back, but I'm actually going to bring my laminator up here. I think it's green. What happened? I came unplugged. I think it's green. Yep, it's green. Okay. So let's run this through really quick. Okay, I don't know if you can see it, but it did fold over like I wanted it to. So let's see what it looks like. Let's see what it looks like on a book page. Ooh, doesn't that look cool how it all shows through? Because this is a really light fabric. It's a netting lace. It's very pretty. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this. All right. And then, see, it's pretty well sealed. I mean, if I wanted to actually dig that apart, I could, but I'm not going to. I still am probably going to sew around it. I'm probably going to trim a little bit better. I don't know, though, because maybe just at the top, because of the way I cut my fabric, it has a really jaggedy edge there, and I want to keep that look. And once this gets down on my paper, I'll probably just so it somehow, but let's see what we got here. So what I did on this other one was I sewed it to that really good book page, which that would be all you had to do. I mean, it's sturdy enough that way, but I wanted it to be a writing, like a floating pocket. And so I glued it to some tea-dyed paper, and then I inked. And so my sewing, I thought that looked really neat. So I heavy inked it where it would show. My sewing from the front, when I inked it, gave the impressions on the back, and I really like that. Plus, I thought it gave it a sturdier feel, even though it's pretty sturdy. It gave it a sturdier feel. So I think I'm going to stick with that and glue a piece like I did the same. I thought maybe I could use this little scrap piece, but I don't think it's quite going to be big enough for those two tall ones. But it might be big enough for this, and it is. So let's just... I do like how that's torn across. I may go ahead and glue my back piece on and then do a rip or something like that, which I think I want to make this a little bit smaller. And then I'll tear the bottom after I sew it, probably. So I'm going to get me another tea-dyed piece of paper. And this is just one that I printed wrong on one side, so I just use it to back, you know, things to write or whatever. That way I don't waste the paper. So I'm going to go ahead and glue it to this one. Actually, I'm not, because I sewed around that first, and that's what gave me my look that I'm after. So I will sew these two like that, and then I'll glue on my back. And I actually thought about sewing through it, but I don't think I need to. It's pretty well glued on there, but I intended on going ahead and sewing around it again, but I don't think I'm going to do that. So for now, let's get us a piece of this beautiful page. I love this book page. It's so pretty. And I might, you know, I'm wondering about just keeping it whole, and it could be a a signature for, it's kind of torn right there, isn't it? A signature page, you know, or not a signature, but I would have a page ready to go for my journal. Just sew it in there. This is a little wider than the 8.5 and 11 folded up, and a little bit taller, so it's actually a pretty, it would be in a bigger journal, which I want to do a bigger journal, so I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to do just that. So, because I've torn these pieces, I think I want to use some of this to go behind it. To make it blend in a little better like that. And I'll sew that onto this side. And then on the back page, I'll do the same thing. I'll just sew it on. How cool. I'm just inking up the spot where my little torn piece will look. Even though this is pretty aged paper anyway. So there I'll have two easy pockets. I'm going to trim this one down a little bit more too. We didn't even have to do much to them. We just laminated a beautiful piece of lace that had been grunged up. And now we have a whole signature. I mean, I keep saying signature. A whole page for our journal. I like that. All right. So I'm going to sew around this one. Make another little pocket for that. That'll be good. And then I think I want to put something in here, though. I want to put a sticker. And I know a lot of people don't like stickers, but I do. And I think the ones that are clear really look pretty. So I'm thinking about that for this piece. What I think I'm going to do, just so I don't mess it up real bad, and I can erase it, I think I'm going to take my pencil, if I can find it, and draw a little circle so that I know for sure I'm getting my sticker where I want it. I can always erase it. And you can take the shine off the stickers. If you don't like the shiny, you can always put a little bit of gesso, or what is that? You could also put a little bit of just Elmer's glue and we'll take the shine off. You burnish it down really well. It really does help. Okay, so I'm going to erase this and make sure this is, yep, that's going to look just fine. So I'm going to sew it around, and I'm going to try to remember to sew around my circle before I sew it on. So there's 3 lace pockets, and then I wanted to take these pink ones and just make little pouches with those. That would be pretty, that little sticker. Of course, I can't draw my circle on these because they're already laminated, but that's okay. I'll just try to do the best I can. I'm thinking that I might sew around these little circles too. The reason I didn't on the first one, because I was thinking that my stitches might cause whatever I was putting in the pocket to, you know, get hung. But I don't know, maybe if I, okay, so I think that's going to be a pretty pocket. I like that one. Let's see what we can find for this one. I'm not very good at doing pretty pink, so this is a stretch for me to try to figure out what to do. Now we could make this a tall pocket like this. Wonder what we could come up with. My circle seems like it's a little bit off. So, seems like it's a little bit off. So, but I'm going to go ahead and do it tall. I've already cut it out, so I guess it is what it is. That's pretty. Guess I could always put a flower there. Just something like that, couldn't I? That would be pretty. Let's do that. Okay, what do we think of that? That's pretty girly, isn't it? Would Joanne be proud of that? I think that's pretty girly. Okay, so let me do some sewing, and I'll be right back. Okay, I gotta say, you can't even tell I sewed on these because I changed the thread to white. You know, I didn't feel like, I don't know, maybe I should have stayed with my normal black or brown, and for one, I would have seen it better, and I don't know, I just don't think that turned out where you can see it. It's still pretty with the sticker in it, and you know, once you put a nice tag in there, it's gonna look really pretty. Like if this tag was sideways, let's see, I don't know if I can fit it with this topper, so I'll take that off just to show you what it's gonna look like, how pretty it would be with a picture in that window. Isn't that pretty? I like that. I like that. And then for this one, I sewed around it too, but I think that's Whoops, my little flower's getting hung. There we go. How pretty is that? What a pretty little pocket for your journal. I like that. Okay, so here's the one that I did where I made it a whole page for a journal. Now, I don't know. When I get ready to make the journal, I may cover this to give it some writing spot and to hide my... But I've always liked sewing in journals, so I may leave that. But just to show you, how cool does that look? And you can see them behind it and the little memories. I love that torn look. I really like that. So that turned out pretty cool. I like that. Okay, so on the one that is... I forgot to sew around it. I got such fizz to sew around the edge that I forgot to sew around it. Let's see what it looks like with this tag. That looks nice, doesn't it? Something like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue on my back piece, just like I did on this one. Just used a glue stick before because a lot of times this older book page like this, looks like got some fuzz in there. This older book page like this, it doesn't take a lot for stuff to stick to it because it's kind of got a construction paper feel. I like it. I'm going to glue all the way around where that jagged edge is because I think I'm going to try to tear my tea-dyed paper to match it. You could always use wet glue, whatever you want. I just used my stick glue. Now I'm going to flip it over and burnish it down really well. I'm going to try to cut around the bottom just straight, but I think I'm going to tear the rest. See what kind of look I get. If I could find my tear ruler that has the jagged edge. This might work pretty good. I like that. I like that jagged, torn edge like that. So I'm going to ink it up. And then I'm going to heavily ink the back where I can see my stitching. See that stitching coming through? I think that looks so neat. Very pretty. I like that. And really, you could be done at this point. But I think I want to take another piece of my baby blanket and maybe do something. Now that baby blanket had flowers. Got some little pieces of coffee dye or tea dye something. Cheesecloth too. So I'm thinking this time, because I have a flower in there, I might stamp the word on the outside. Or I mean, the outside. Well, I like it better that way. I started to say I might stamp it where the flowers were, but I really think I much prefer it being the other way. So I'm going to stamp a word on it. You could do a number. I found beautiful again, so I think I'll just stick with that. It's a very big piece, but I could put it over here. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to sew across it again, just like I did before, and tear some of it out because I really liked that look. And I'll be right back. So I've sewn across it. So I'm just going to take my little seam ripper here and take out some of these stitches. Something like that. And then I'm just going to glue it down. A little bit coming up. I like that. I'm not going to put any glue on the edges because I like for it to stand up a little bit. I think I'm going to trim off my thing, and I might just... I've kind of put a little cut right there because I want to rough up that edge like that a little bit. Maybe right there too. Yeah, like that. And then I'm going to probably ink it a little bit just to give it a little bit more grungy. Something like that. And then I think I might put a sticker on these too. Of course, I got this cheesecloth out and I didn't use it. I put it up there. So I'm going to glue that down just a little bit. Bunch it up pretty good. And then I'm going to put my sticker on. And I think I'm going to, so it doesn't look so, I'm going to rough it up just a little bit too. Take some of the shine off. What do you think? I love that. You know what we could do? I don't know why I saw a little, thought of Brad, or yeah, a little Brad would be good here. What do you think? Do you like it? I probably should have made it a smaller one and maybe moved it. I don't know, but I like it. Okay, so let's see what one of Rooster's tags. I wish I'd gotten more Rooster's tags. I thought maybe I'm sure I have more somewhere. Very pretty. So there they are. What do you think of them? Is that fun? Would you do something like that with laminated lace, even though, you know, the lace is, or the lamination is shiny? I think that tea dyed, or I'm sorry, coffee dyed lace really gives it a grungy look. And you know, why not just put the lace on there? Because it's a little bit thin, and I think the lamination just, you know, gives your pocket that sturdy something to put your tags into. And I just think it looks so good. Very pretty. Ah, I love them so much. I really do. I hope you do. I hope you give this a try. And if you have time on Friday, I will have a surprise friend selling with me this Friday, the 12th, September 12th. Joe needs to take a little break. She's had a flare up with her hands, so she's going to take a little bit of break. And I have an awesome person that you guys will love. Joe loves her. We call her Wooly. Her name is Sandy. She has her own channel, Woolamina. No. What is the name of her? Is her channel Wilhelmina. I'm not sure. But she's going to sell with me on Friday. I hope you guys will check it out. 11 o'clock Central. And I will link her channel below too so that you can check her channel out too. She has lots of vintage goodies. All right. Thank you for joining me. I hope this gave you some good ideas. Thanks for watching. God bless. And I will see you next time. Bye.